Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry, y'all. Welcome back to the OS Rick Project, episode 70. Guys, the only podcast that promises not to nerf the bosses before everybody gets to play it. How are you guys? How's everything going on? What you been up to? What you been playing? How's everything on y'all's life? What have you been watching? All that good stuff. I hope everything is well. Thank you for joining me for episode 70, just the podcast that I do by myself, mostly by myself. Every once in a while, I get some friends to come on and join me, but I actually have two episodes coming up with some friends, guys. So I'm saving those. I'm gonna make sure we finish out this month. We'll get one in the beginning of October, then another one probably in November. So just stay tuned for those, or I might work them in somewhere. But anyways, guys, yeah, welcome to the podcast. It's just me. I talk about what's going on, what I've been playing, what's going on. I said that already. What I've been sharing, and it's just like there's zero editing, guys. So if it's just me, it's me just talking. Okay, so bear with me. No edits, no nothing. Just as it is, it goes, right? Let's see. What I've been watching, what I've been playing. I've been watching a little bit of Ahsoka on Disney. It's okay. It feels like it's like kind of girl bossy kind of show, which is it's fine, but I don't know. I think Disney has kind of lost me when it comes to their shows. Like every once in a while, I think, okay, this one might be fun. This one might be cool. They can't screw this up, and then it's just like, all right, well, they're just doing everything safe by the numbers. It's fine. Um, Not really watching anything else. I've been reading some JoJo's manga. I'm been enjoying that. That's a blast. I could hear all the voices in my head from watching the anime. And for playing video games, I've been mostly on. I've been on a Street Fighter 6 wave. Been playing that, and of course Armored Core 6. I want to talk about Street Fighter for a bit. So I know I ranted before, guys, about I've been seeing like a lot of one and dones. And one and dones, guys, if y'all don't know, is usually when you're playing online, it usually has it has the option to play the first to two. That means the first to get two wins. So you could up to three games. If you lose one, and your opponent, well, if you win one, your opponent wins one, and then and then whoever gets the first two, exactly. So pretty easy to explain. But sometimes it feels like these folks are just don't want to give you the run back, and they just want to get their points and run off. And it's almost, and I understand sometimes maybe something's going on, but when you start getting like three of them, four of them, it's like, man, I don't you don't I don't think it's coincidence. I think they're literally just whatever points they get, they want to hang on to them. And I don't think that's where I don't think that's where you're supposed to be putting the value in the game. It's not the league points that matter. It's what you learn and having the knowledge for the matchup. That way, when you come across another opponent with that's playing the same that character, you kind of have to start learning. Like, oh, okay, I remember that this isn't a real string, or this I could get away with this, or that's not safe, or stuff like that. But I've been playing a lot of Street Fighter. I've been getting my rank up, and just learning the game, and it's one of those things where I have to constantly be on top of it, because if not, I will regress. I will go back. I will get rusty. So I try not to stay too far away from that game, especially the higher I go. I know that I have to play even more tighter, have to not drop combos, have to take all the damage I can get, and just trying to break out of these bad habits. But it is a fun game. I have been enjoying it. I know some people have asked me if I've been going to play or going to pick up Mortal Kombat 1 that just came out. And no, I'm not. I have no interest. I don't like NRS games. I don't like their style. I don't like their animations. I feel like there's just very over glorified violence for just to be over glorified violence. That's the only reason why. But yeah, I'm not interested at all. I know some people ask me, and I don't know. Are you guys interested in it? You're playing it? I know some people. It has a block button, so they don't like it, or uh, me personally, the animations just don't like it. There's gonna be a lot of things for different folks. I got my cat in the background, guys. I don't know if you can see him or not. He's a black cat underneath the desk hiding. So I did see some screenshots of people apparently NRS decided to port it over to the Nintendo Switch, and it doesn't look all that great at all. I mean, I just seen a couple of still shots. I'm sure they cherry pick and got like the worst looking ones, but you know, I don't know what's up with the developers trying to put it on consoles that can't really function all that don't really make the game look as polished as it is when it comes out. It looks decent on the current gen systems and PC. Oh, I think they didn't have no crossplay either, which that's something I should have looked though, guys, because I don't think for something that would cost anywhere between something like up to like $110, I believe, to get early access and get all this stuff and still not have crossplay, and they say they're going to work on that later. I feels like, man, you're getting gypped. Them charging $70 for a Nintendo Switch port, that also feels like a lot. Like, I would understand if they brought it down to like it's $50 on Switch because they had to cut corners for the visual fidelity, but man, they still wanted to hit that $70 mark and just get more. I don't know, man. It just feels like this year it's just been really scummy stuff been going on when it comes to gaming, whether things are not coming out optimized or you having to pay $100 just to play test a game a couple of days early, and of course the whole Unity engine fiasco, dumpster fire that's going on. We'll talk more about that later, guys, but it is, I don't know. It's hard to go what's going on with this business because I love the hobby, and I'm sure if you guys are listening, y'all probably do too. It's something that I just grew up with, and you see it change little by little, and it's one of those things where the more we become okay with it and accept it, the more they're gonna keep pushing. And I mean, next thing you know, $100 is going to be the next norm for games. And look, I know they become expensive. I know it takes a lot of people to make these games, but at the same time, you got to have a product that's worth the money, man. I mean, fan or not, or or being hype about it or not, or whatever. I mean, after a while, it's like you're just going to burn out your audience, man. You can't be just nickel and diming them, especially in this economy when people are really struggling just to make ends meet, whether it's groceries or bills or house notes, car notes. It's just, things are just getting a lot more expensive. So make sure you guys just be, I mean, voice what you got to say, man, when it comes to the pricing of these games, because I personally don't feel like they should be going up. And I've been doing the same thing. There's a couple of games that I'm excited for and I'll get day one, but it's something that I'm really excited for and research, and I feel like it's going to be in a good spot. I don't try to do any of this extra pre-order bonuses or getting the extra special version of special version of a game that costs more money, just because, I mean, honestly, the more they see that's popular and selling, the more they're going to keep pushing it. So I try not to, like I said, the best way to vote is with your money, right? Also been playing Armored Core 6, guys. Having a blast with that one. I am on my third playthrough. I did listen to some lore videos and I got spoiled on what the third ending is. Don't worry, guys, I'm not gonna mention it to you guys. But I was like, okay. I mean, I still have to see how it plays out. So I've been putting a pause on those lore videos because I don't want to get spoiled any more than I already have. But going through the game, I mean, there's even more different missions each playthrough. It gets, I want to say it gets harder, but it doesn't. And I think from this last patch that they had, it did get. I'm sorry if my cat's making noise, guys. Hey, what are you doing? I did know that I think sometime last week there was an update for Armored Core 6 from FromSoft, and they buff some of the weapons that weren't being used, some of the rifles and machine pistols, which is great because I like using the machine pistols, and I had to like change them up because I felt like they were just being too weak compared to other stuff. Nothing got nerfed, which is and I'm glad to hear that, because I feel, especially when it comes to the PvE contents, the PvE side of the game, where I don't think you should make guns weaker. I think you should make other things just better and bring them up. Now, if this was for a PvP balance patch, I could understand that they got to tweak some bring some firearms or weapons down some just to like make them catch up or won't be too much. That I can understand for PvP, but for PvE, PvP, player versus player, guys, and PvE, player versus environment, you're just playing the main campaign. Yeah, I don't think weapons should be nerfed unless it's like a bug where it's like crashing the game or causing some sort of disruption to the gameplay. Then yeah, we should fix that. But if it's just something that's just really strong, I mean, I'll allow some cheese builds. We've seen it in a lot of FromSoft games or any other games. Sometimes you want to play with the super power OP stuff because it's sometimes it's fun. I'll admit it, and sometimes you get stuck on a certain area or a certain boss, and you need everything you could get. When they cheese you, sometimes you got to cheese them back, right? And I remember during Elden Ring having the the Moonveil Katana. That one was so good. I think they just nerfed it in PvP. In PvE is so good, and then also in PvE, the freaking Sword of Night and Flame. That one was ridiculously OP. It was really good. You shoot the Kamehameha wave, you're just gonna melt things, and I understand why they had to like tone it down some, but it's you want those cheese builds to exist, and same goes for Armored Core. I'm totally fine to have these OP builds. Because at the end of the day, if people are having fun with it and are enjoying it and are still be able to pass the game or clear the game with it, yeah, go ahead. I mean, and that's why you have new game pluses. On your smaller stages, you could try different builds, and that's what I do. I usually stick to a very speedy, zippy build using just machine pistols and maybe like I know the Songbird, real original rig, using a Songbird and a missile launcher for the shoulder weapons, and I've been having a really good time with it. I did notice with the changes they did with the weapons is I'm not gonna say they nerfed some bosses because their words were they've changed some of the attack patterns of some of the bosses. I think it was Baltius, maybe Sea Spider, and Ibis. And rightly so. Baltius almost filtered me out. He was a tough boss. I had to stop what I was doing, go replay the game, and do more missions. I just spit in my mic. That was gross. Had to do more missions. I could get more money to, buy other items and try different builds. And Baltius almost filtered me out. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I was thinking, why am I playing this game? Not why am I playing this game, but it got me thinking, like, if this is the first chapter boss, like, how am I gonna do with the rest? But eventually, I was able to get through them. Along with Sea Spider. Sea Spider was tough, and Ibis was tough, and the last boss was tough also. But I was able to do it before this update happened, so I was able to experience the game as it was when it got launched. And I feel like I don't know why they did this. Maybe a lot of their player base was just getting stuck there and felt like they couldn't progress. And I mean, I remember hearing several stories that a lot of people were refunding the game because they couldn't get past the very first helicopter boss, the tutorial boss, and that's unfortunate. But I think, I think with the success that FromSoft had with Elden Ring, a lot of people bought this thinking, oh, they're gonna get something that's very similar in that vein, and it's not. It's very unique. It's very different. It is, some things do kind of carry over, like all this the min maxing and different sorts of stats and how they get affected and stuff like that by the gear you're carrying out. So that part does kind of carry over, but other than that, though, there's not really much carrying over. Yeah, some bosses are very punishing. Some the game doesn't really hold your hand. You kind of have to go just, figure out where to go and what to do next sometimes. But I feel like the game, and I'm going to be very biased here, guys, because I am having a good time with this game, and this is my first Armored Core game that I've played. I knew they existed before, the series existed before, but this is my first time playing it, and I would honestly recommend, if you're a fan of FromSoft games, that you should try Armored Core 6. It is a challenge, but it's not so much that it's going to turn you off from the game. And And I say that with the new nerf. Even if they didn't nerf the bosses, I still would highly recommend this game because it does feel good when you defeat these bosses because you realize you've learned the patterns, you know how to execute, you're just become one with your mech, you're in the zone. It's a high speed game. And looking at different people talk about it, several internet personalities or YouTube game journalists, and I like to use that term very loosely because some of them, and I'm not trying to sound like a defender for Armored Core 6, but I just want to give you like my experiences with it to compare to what other people. And look, I'm not saying they're wrong or I'm not saying that I'm right. It's just that when people start like using the word Souls like and comparing it to that, it's like, guys, it's not like that at all. I mean, yeah, it's from FromSoft. Yes, there's some tough bosses and there's some things and some little things are kind of here and there, like the vague storytelling, the very dark and gloomy atmosphere, the having to try different strategies and some of that does carry over. But when people start saying like, oh, there's it's very bland, it's very tough, you could get away with some cheese builds, like I don't find that. I mean, honestly, especially when it comes to like the visuals, I thought the visuals look great. Yeah, they're still using their old FromSoft engine, but me playing it on PC, a couple of issues here and there, but nothing so major that it turned me off from the game. If anything, I had more issues just having driver issues with the AMD GPU that I have, which I've been having a good time with the AMD, but sometimes it feels like these drivers, whether they're Radeon software or something, just really. And I guess that's part of the trade-off, right? When the Radeon software gives you a lot of tools to tinker with things, and some things might not work, and it could really like give the game some issues when you're starting it up or shutting it down, which is unfortunate. But especially when it comes to the visuals of the game, I think they look great. You're in this world that was destroyed 50 years ago, and now the corporations are trying to take over. And sometimes it does, it's very snowy areas, but sometimes you see some of the horizon and the sky and how everything is covered with the coral and the visuals of the explosions and the smoke, and that really is, I really enjoy it. I feel like the world building that FromSoft does is very spot on and unique. I love it. And even when it comes to like telling you bits of the story, it's all through little mission debriefs and little logs that you find away. So like true to FromSoft, they don't really put the story all out there for you to they don't really just spoon feed it to you. You have to figure it out and look around and do some digging, and that's part of the beauty of it too, because it really kind of these FromSoft games really start to develop their own communities, where people will ask around and build and get information from different people to build the lore or to find different strategies or builds and stuff like that. And I think that's wonderful. It's great. It's a lot more community driven than you think it would be. And even just from streaming the game, I'll get some people who just love the franchise, who love FromSoft games, and they'll come in and help me out, whether I was playing Bloodborne or Elden Ring or Dark Souls or Armored Core 6. It's really great when you have people coming in and give you some ideas or different point of views on how to play the game. A little backseat gaming, but I don't mind the backseat gaming. But it's just unfortunate that people have this stigma that because it's FromSoft and it's not a Souls like, it's a mech game, it's not for me. I honestly feel like people should try it out. It's really fun. The way you could customize, whether it's the weapons, the paints, the style, the little details, the decals. I've been having just a really good time with that game, guys. So let's get on with what's been going on, guys. I'm going to save the Unity engine stuff for last. But right now, I want to talk about, there's been a lot of game news, game reveals, game trailers, state of plays, Nintendo Directs. I believe Tokyo Game Show should be happening later on this week, so I'll be getting some news about that. We'll talk about it more as it comes up. But one of the biggest things I want to talk about, one of the big things I want to talk about is Sony had their little display state of play for the upcoming SquareEnix title, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And guys, depending on when like what mindset I'm in. You could ask me about Final Fantasy 7 remake and I'll tell you, man, it's great. And then sometimes I feel like, why is it here? And it goes back and forth, man. But at the end of the day, I'm glad it does exist. And looking at Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, that hype just got me right back onto the game. I'm excited for. So we have a release date. If you guys have been under a rock, it will be February 29th, 2024. So the leap year day, that's where we get the for February, the 29th. So we got a while to go, but I am excited for it. I mean, just seeing the trailer, the bits, it looked like you could play, you get Ketchi, you saw Ketchi being played. You saw Eris, Tifa, Yuffie, Barrett, Red, and of course Cloud. You saw Vincent, but I don't know if he's gonna be playable right off the gate. So we'll see. But they had so many areas they showed. They were going to Juno. Junon. I'm sure they went through Costa del Sol, the Nibelheim reactor, on the way to Cosmo Cannon, what looked like Gongaga. What else did they go to? I think they said this section, this part of the trilogy, I think it's gonna be a trilogy. Well, this game, Rebirth, will be going all the way up to the Forgotten Capital. So that's gonna be where the OG version had the very, very big moment in the game. So I'm excited to see it. It looked really fun, looked really good. It looks like it's going to be exclusive for PlayStation 5 for a couple of months, and then it looks like it'll be coming out on PC. But it looked like they had like a whole bunch of stuff, a lot of montages, and the scene where Cloud's on a Segway, people are running away with that and making memes. You see like a whole bunch of mini games from the Golden Saucer. I mean, just listening to the music just got me so hyped, and just the music they did with Final Fantasy VII was really good. I really enjoyed it, and honestly, it makes me want to go play 7 again, maybe even stream it. But it looks like this game will be priced at $70, which doesn't surprise me. It feels like, I think that's the direction Square Enix is starting to go now. I think it started in 2023 with Forspoken, and they've been going that way. I want to focus on excuse me guys, I want to focus on Square Enix for a bit, but it feels like, and I hate to say this, but it feels like the only thing that's really carrying these guys right now is Final Fantasy, the franchise, whether it's 16, the MMO 14, the upcoming titles that they have for Final Fantasy 7 remake. But it feels like Final Fantasy is what's keeping the lights on for Square Enix, and they even had to release a gacha game. What's it called? Final Fantasy Ever Crisis or something like that, which as big fan as I am of Final Fantasy 7, I'm not going to play a cell phone mobile gacha game. I'm not, it's fine. I can live without it. But, and we've seen it with Forspoken. It didn't do so well. We saw it with what they did with Guardians of the Galaxy. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, that didn't go well. Marvel's Avengers, that didn't go well. What else did they have? They teamed up with Platinum Games to make that Babylon game that didn't do well. I mean, they just been having stinkers after stinkers after stinkers. I think was the other one they had where they teamed up with, was that people can fly? Is it Outlanders? Was that Square Enix? I don't remember. I got to look that one up. But it just feels like what Square Enix has been doing, though, it just has not been hitting off. And 16, I think that put them in a good spot. I know it was one of the best-selling games of June when it got released, and I know it's getting an update, and I talked about that last week. But even the direction they did with 16 is different. I know some people had some critiques with it, and it's totally fine, and I agree with some of them, because when they say, since it was led by Yoshi P and his crew who do Final Fantasy 14, a lot of from what I hear, a lot of the quest designs were kind of like the MMO quest, a lot of fetch quests. And personally, yes, I did feel like some of the quests were kind of like okay, I guess Clive is the only one that could do it. I guess I'll go collect these special grapes or special dirt outside the city, outside the settlement. But in defense to the quest, they, yeah, you had the option to at least like pick them all up at one time and then just go out and go do it. And the rewards you got from it were worthwhile. Not all of them were great, but a lot of them, but several had these really good upgrades where you're getting, rare items to upgrade your gear, or getting special accessories, or you know getting really good quality of life features, like bigger item bags for your potions and stuff like that. So even though it wasn't my favorite Final Fantasy 16, the overall I did have a good time with it, and even with the quest. But again, it just feels like what they did with 16 is they went in a completely different direction. And I'm pretty sure if Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth is anything like its predecessor, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, yeah, it might lean into the action part, but I still hope that you have a sense of still being able to play like a turn based, because even though it was, action oriented a lot of times during combat, in my opinion, I felt like you still have to play it turn based to really get the stag meter going, to weaken the enemies, and just to get just to, you have to like have everybody had to have different sorts of magic material to exploit the weaknesses for the bosses. And you could sort of get away with not playing that way in the regular mode, but when you played on the hard, it definitely made you have to change your play style. We had to be more conservative with your magic and really time out your stuff, and that's when the turn base really kicked in. So with Rebirth, I'm hoping they, if it's similar to what they did on the previous Final Fantasy 7 game, I think I'll be fine with it. And honestly, I just want to see, I want to be able to play with more characters. I want to play with Red. I want to play with Ketchy. I want to play with Yuffie. I want to put them together. I think it's going to look great. I want to visit, I really want to see, even though like the first game took place in all of it took place in Midgar, so you kind of really got to see what the city is about. I think part of the beauty of the OG Final Fantasy 7 was seeing the world and seeing the different towns and the areas. And I think Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth is going to do, I feel like they're going to do a great job with it. From what I saw with this trailer, I'm super excited. I can't wait. And honestly, that's probably something I'm going to be putting it's going to be on my radar. I'm going to be keeping a close eye to it, make sure it comes on a good spot. Hopefully they'll have now release lift the embargo like 2 hours before the game releases and shit like that. And of course they have their special edition, which I'm gonna be fine. I don't need 19 inches of Sephiroth, so I'll be good. So I'll be getting. I did notice, guys, and I'm not trying to shill for them, but I did notice that they have like the special promo offer where if you pre-order it, and I just said don't pre-order stuff, but they did have a feature where if you pre-order it, you'll get the first game and this one combined together, which if you haven't played the first one, I would say it would be a good deal to pick up. And I played it on the PlayStation 4. So, and I had a good time with it. So I did play a little bit on the PlayStation 5. It functioned pretty well. I did play on the prioritized frame setting. I think frames are just better than the graphics. I mean, playing 60 frames, it just looks way better. So yeah, I'm excited for it. I can't wait. Yeah, $70 for the base game, $100 for the deluxe, and then it'll be $350 for the collector's edition. And honestly, Final Fantasy VII Remake, that came out back in April 2020, right in the heart of the COVID. So I remember picking that game up and having it curbside delivered when I went to Best Buy to pick it up. And that was $60. So it feels like the trend now, like SquareEnix and some other developers are going to be going on for the $70 title. Nintendo Direct, guys. Were you able to catch some of it? They talked about some of the first party games that'll be coming out. Nothing too surprising. We already knew about Super Mario RPG, which seeing more of that got me super excited. They had some other titles. They talked about like some extra stuff coming out for Splatoon 2, things for Mario Kart, more DLC stuff for Mario Kart 8. a Mario versus Donkey Kong game, another Luigi's Mansion HD coming out, which is all fine for me. But I mean, it's all fine, but I'm not planning on getting except for Mario RPG. And honestly, I'm glad they have these directs. I really am. So I noticed before I got into the games, I want to talk about how I see some people like on Twitter and the internet. And remember, guys, I like to preface everything that I see on the internet and bring up to y'all's attention. Like, it's from the internet, whether it's Twitter, Reddit, whatever. You always have to take it with a grain of salt. It's always, you gotta take it because it's the internet. Everybody puts their stuff out there, and some of it catches fire, and some of it, some stuff makes sense. I'm like, oh, that's a good point. Some of it's just like, okay, somebody's just trying to get clout and stuff like that. But I did see some people talking about a random tweet talking about, like, they don't like these Nintendo Directs or State of Plays because they feel like they are always let down by the announcements. And it got me thinking, it's like, what kind of like entitlement do you think you have that you have to be wowed each and every time these guys come out with stuff? Like, I'm not trying to sound like an apologist for Nintendo and Sony and Microsoft and all these these little Nintendo Direct, State of Plays, and showcases, but it feels like these guys are putting stuff out. If you don't want to get let down because you don't want to be overwhelmingly disappointed by the news, like, why even watch it? Like, this is something that just to stir some buzz for different games that are coming out. And yeah, some of them are good, some of them are great. Sometimes you see some stuff where you're like, okay, there's nothing here that I care about. And you know what? The fact that they're just kind of being some sort of showing you some sort of transparency and give you some roadmap of what's coming out, I enjoy that. That's fine because it's something to look forward to, especially knowing that, there's going to be no more E3. We know it's gone. It's not coming back. It got replaced by Summer Game Fest. And then in December, we get, the Game Awards, which, the Game Awards is cool, but I'm really there just for the games, for the announcements and trailers and world premieres that they're going to be having. That's honestly what really matters to me. Who wins best fighting game, whether it's Seifu. God damn it. Did Seifu really get best fighting game? It did, didn't it? Those fuckers do not play fighting games. They don't know what they're talking about, and when it comes to just the awards they come with for these games, it honestly, it doesn't matter. You've heard me say that about. But yeah, how do you guys feel about when it comes to these little Nintendo Directs and State of Plays? I for one enjoy them. I think they have a good time. I mean, yes, I want to see some information coming up, especially when it comes from, something like SquareEnix, one of my favorite developers. But going back to Nintendo one, that there was a few that I just want to look at. Was the Super Mario RPG coming out in November. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be picking that up when that comes out. I think it's going to be a good game for the Switch. All the nostalgia I have for it when I'm playing it, and it looks like they're upgrading the graphics, and it looks like they're adding some sort of like limit break. The more attacks you do successfully, looks like you get to fill up a meter, and when you do, you get to do like a triple full party attack on the enemy. So okay, they're adding some stuff, which I'm fine for. And I just want to play the game because I really had such a really good time with it. So I'm excited for that one. And the only one I'm also excited for, guys, and it's not really my style of game, but it's Unicorn Overlord. I know, weird name, right? From Atlas and Vanillaware. It's a tactical RPG coming out in March 2024. But Vanillaware, guys, if you guys ever played Dragon's Crown or ever played 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim, what else did Vanillaware do? I think there was another title Vanillaware did. But, when you look at Vanillaware games, the way they illustrate, the illustrations, the visuals of the game, it's very unique to them. When you're looking at their game. And when I played 13 Sentinels, again, not my type of game that I played. It's almost like a visual novel, but I had such a good time with it. I highly recommend it. That this one, Unicorn Overlord, I'm excited for it. Vanillaware, these guys have been doing really good stuff. I like what they do, and I want to support them with this stuff. And I'm excited to try this one out. It looks really cool. I can't wait. Have you guys had any experience with vanillaware games? Any other stuff? Oh, just let me know if in the comments and stuff like that. What else do we got, guys? I think that is pretty much it for everything else that I wanted to talk about. Oh, by the way, guys, how's y'all's experience with Starfield been? It's been a couple of weeks now. Is the honeymoon phase over yet? Have y'all been having a good time? I've seen some different reviews from different people, and it feels like it's all over the place. Some people absolutely love it, Fallout in space, and some people completely think it's the worst. It's a really bad game. It's just bunch of, I guess, they're, I don't know. I want to say, some people are saying kind of like wokeness is in there because you got to get asked about your pronouns. And look, I get it. These games now, they kind of do that to cater to, certain to the alphabet crowd. But the way I see it is they kind of just ask you at the beginning of the game, and that's kind of it. So, like, I don't think it's something losing your shit for, but at the same time, when you start becoming normal with it, when it becomes every day and you just be saying, like, oh, it's okay, that's when the games start to become like, they start becoming a reflection of the culture. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I just feel like the politics of it, like pronouns in a game, like just play the game. That's it. You're just a make. And I guess someone's going to make that up, right? It's just a meta character, doesn't matter. There's going to be different ways to see it per person. I just feel like this kind of stuff is just like, why do I need it though? I hear so much about it, especially in, I love playing video games, right? But it's for the younger crowd. And I've heard a lot of people say stuff like that, they, them, or the pronouns in their on their streams or the what you call it. And look, that's their business, they want to, but like, I really don't care about that. I'm here for an awesome game, an awesome experience. And I don't want to play, I want to play something and not feel break the immersion and have to be reminded like, oh yeah, this is a game for, because it wants to be all inclusive and it has to have certain certain representation from everybody. And after a while it just becomes like, okay, everybody's doing it, like break out the mold, do something unique, stand out, because a lot of times it feels like this is what they're all trying to get, I guess, work on their ESG scores, or get, a virtue signal to a certain crowd of people for, I don't know, just to get their money. But, hearing stuff from Starfield, some people are saying it's really good, some people are saying it's really bad. And honestly, I don't know what to expect from it. I don't plan on, at one point I was excited when I did see the first showcase last summer. But little by little, my expectations and desire to want to play it just really just got tempered and then just kind of died down. And it's to the point where I'm not really excited. Like if I do play it, it would have to be like when it goes on like on a super big discount. But right now, it doesn't feel like there's anything in there that I want to play. Just from different like different people talk about it, different review outlets and stuff like that. I mean, honestly, my biggest concern with the game is just the pricing. I thought it was ridiculous how the game was already ready and then you have to pay $100 just to play it. A lot of people saying, like I said, Fallout in space, whether good or bad. And honestly, Fallout wasn't my favorite one, so I think I'm gonna wait on this one. What else, guys? What else? Yeah, that's been the biggest one. Let's talk about the whole Unity engine fiasco, guys. If y'all haven't heard about this, damn it, I wish I wrote down his name. Well, the CEO from Unity, he used to work for EA. Used to be CEO for EA. Best company around for video games. No, I think they got voted like the worst. I think they got voted for worst company like several years in a row way back when. But anyways, guys, this guy decided they want to monetize their Unity engine where it'll be like up to 20 cents. They're going to charge up to like 20 cents per download when it comes to the game. And if it would have been like, I'm trying to like see it from a different perspective, right? I understand things are getting more expensive. You got to make money. I get it. Yeah. But still, if they would have been something like, 20 cents for each sale of a game, okay, maybe we could start, if you start negotiating that and talking to your folks, maybe we could work something out. But when it's 20 cents per download, that becomes very, very sticky, hairy situation. I mean, let's just look at it from this point, guys. How many times have you heard a story or heard about, not a story, but have you heard about when people review bomb a game just because it changes something that the crowd doesn't like, or something, one of the developers did something that was inappropriate, and or I don't know, but we've seen reasons where people will, for some odd something to get mad about because they're offended about something, that they will start review bombing a game, giving it these awful scores. Now imagine guys, if these people, whoever, regardless of who they are, were able to get their, excuse me guys, were able to get their other crony friends to follow along, and their other like-minded sycophants to start download bombing developers just to start charging them, you know, charging them more. I don't know, depending on how what the value is of per download. But imagine that if they started getting download bomb, what that could do to the developer. It could be that's something that could be weaponized, and I don't think that's a good idea. And of course, and this is there's a lot of things to look about it when it comes to this whole thing that's going on, because not only do I think it's bad that some of these game developers, because it's from what I've seen, it looks like the people that use Unity tends to be the more indie developers, the smaller developers, because bigger companies, AAA companies, EA has their own engine, DICE. Capcom has their own engine, the RE engine. SquareEnix has a Luminous engine. So I mean, a lot of these bigger companies, they already have their engines to get their games rolling, right? So that's not gonna bother them at all. But another thing I wanted to talk about, which I think could be a negative, is that when you start taking away stuff with Unity, people are gonna have to find some other things. And I would hate for them to all start going to the Unreal Engine 5 engine. That's me personally. I feel I don't. I think mostly my gripe against Unreal Engine is it's part of Epic Games, and I don't know how much. Well, that's part of it, right? That I don't like, 'cause I'm not a big fan of Epic Games and how they do their stuff. But it's also that it's really, and I wish I knew more, guys. I wish I knew more of how the financial works, because I don't know how much of a cut they get from Unreal Engine also. Now, that's just something to think about, guys. I don't have any numbers, but I don't want to see everything be on the Unreal Engine, because not because of the financial things, but also because of how well they can optimize. From what I've seen and heard, like, Unreal is mostly better suited for 3D games, 3D environments, compared to for 2D games. I'm not saying it can't be worked on for 2D games and 2D models, but I'm sure there might be some hurdles that they would have to get over. But going back to Unity, it feels like when you start doing stuff like this, like, where do you start drawing the line? Where do you, like, what's next? What's they gonna start charging for? Because I mean, these guys are already, like, when they put their games on Steam, just looking around, guys, it looks like they usually have a one-time fee. And this is just me clicking around, guys, okay? There's a lot more to research and look into, but that's just me just goofing off on Google and looking some stuff up. But it looks like on Steam, they usually just have a one-time fee of $100, and then after that, they have to pay a 30% royalty fee. So just imagine, guys, you have to pay $30, 30% of your royalties already going to Steam, and then you got to pay for the loans that you got. You got to pay for your staff. You got to pay for all the equipment. You got to pay for all the office building, and then, like, at the end, like, how much is left for the employers and stuff like that. And I know it's not about the money though, but if you don't have the financial means to get your game rolling, it's gonna stop a lot of people, and especially since Unity is being used by smaller teams, indie teams, it's gonna suck. I've heard some people. I think I saw somewhere where Team Cherry, the guys who make Hollow Knight, are gonna have to start looking to possibly starting from scratch for the sequel because of the Unity engine. And I heard some other people say that they're gonna back out if this actually goes through. Now, I know I did also hear about that, and this is just looking up different articles and stuff like that on YouTube, guys. So feel free to go look it up yourselves. But I did hear also that this also, sorry, is impacted by their partnership with Apple, because a lot of games, some of the big games, I think Pokemon Go, Call of Duty Mobile, and some other big mobile games use the Unity engine. And that's probably one of the reasons why they did it, because I guess they realized that's money they're just leaving on the table. I mean, how many times have you guys, had another game's coming out? All right, let me delete this one and then download this game. And then when I'm done with that one, let me put this other game back, my favorite game that I like, back on there and download it again. Between, maybe one person does it a couple of times, but imagine across everybody that plays games, I mean, that could start adding up real quick. I know on Epic Games, they usually have a better split. I think I looked up, they have like an 88-12 split. And like the first time you just gotta, and then like the first $100 million is waived, until you don't have to pay anything till you make 100 million. So I believe like on Epic Games, it's maybe better than Steam for the developer. But honestly, the only thing that Epic Games has ever done that was kind of cool was they give you free games here and there. You just have to claim them and download them. But when's the last time? Okay. I was about to say, when's the last time? No. Yeah, I was about to say, when's the last time I opened the Epic Game browser? I also want to say today when I played a little bit of Jedi Survivor, but you know what? That's the EA browser. That wasn't Epic Games. So yeah, when it comes to Epic Games, I mean, I have 90%, 99% of my games on Steam. So I mean, that's my go-to launcher. So yeah, I like the fact that Epic Games is more friendly to the smaller guy when it comes to putting their games out there. But it's not I mean, and how do you guys, do you guys have a preferred launcher? Do you guys just stick to one? Do you have two, three? Do you have some sort of software to kind of, keep them all in line and in check and stuff like that? But it just feels real scummy in the world when, the video game business is huge. It's huge. And a lot of people are just trying to find a way to monetize it. And this is one way of doing it. I mean, whether it's, charging $100 for early access, or, starting to charge people for, having a game on a certain engine. It gets really old real quick. And especially right now when everything's just really tight with the financials, it's just, you hate to see that. But guys, I think that's it for today. We'll come back. Oh yeah, guys, my bad with the schedule. I know it's been kind of erratic, but it's like I said, I've been working on 2 other episodes that I got them lined up and ready to go. But it's just a matter of time of how much I have, because I usually have it where, I have 3 hours per month. So I have one episode that's almost 2.5 hours, and I have another episode that's 3 hours. So they're gonna be eating up a lot of time. So I might not be having some episodes right out the gate after these episodes release, but I will be recording them and just having them locked and loaded and ready to dump them out when I get the time for it. So just be patient, guys. Hang out, keep listening, keep supporting. Tell your friends about it, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And you have any questions, comments, concerns, and you want to hang out some more, I love streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv OS_R1CK, twitch.tv/OS_R1CK. Right now it's Armored Core and Street Fighter, but like I said, watching the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer, I might go back to Final Fantasy VII and pick it up and try it out. So we'll see how that goes, guys. I do want to, and also want to pick up Blasphemous 2. I know the digital version on Steam came out like on the 24th when Armored Core came out, and I think the physical edition for the Nintendo Switch came out on Friday. So I might pick up one of those, and maybe I'll even stream it, guys, and let you know, because I think Blasphemous 2, it's a very, inspired by Symphony of the Night, but I think it has a little bit from the first one. When I played it, it was very more emphasis on there was some exploring, of course, but there was more emphasis on the platforming. So I want to play the second one because I think these guys did good. It's always, support the small team guys, support the indie guys, because those are the ones that make the unique stuff. It doesn't always pay off, but like Herman Melville says, I'd rather fail in originality than succeed in imitation. I think it's a good quote, guys. Be yourselves. Be one of a kind. Don't feel like you have to steal things or copy things or just repaste things from the internet. Make your own jokes. Make your own memes. Make your own things, man. If it doesn't land, that's fine. Do it again. But be yourself. Do something that you like doing, and don't let nobody else tell you what to do. Anyways, guys, enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a good night. Have a great week. Play some games. Share them. Let me know what you think, what you've been playing, because I would love to listen and hear about it. And I hope to see you guys on the next episode. All right, guys. Love you. Bye.